It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Vibuti Jha, who is Executive Director in Nalanda International, USA. In 1991, he worked in leadership role with the American Express Bank to build and develop Indo-US business relationships. He obtained his undergraduate degree with majors in economics.
Namaste, greetings from New York. Vibhuti Jha here. Today I'm going to talk about Aparigraha. It is an important element. Aparigraha is the most important element of Yoga Sutra. In the introduction, Dr. Vikrant Thomar made a very powerful opening of this entire process, which is so critical to our lives and living. And, after listening to him, I felt I don't need to speak anything more. But here I go. As we know, Aparigraha is the last of the yamas in Patanjali, 8 limbs of Yoga Sutra. And it implies how to live a life of non-greed and non-attachment. We always talk about greed and attachments as one of the human elements of life that connects us with people. But as somebody said, very important sage once said, definition of poison is anything in excess. As a result of which, we have to take into account at what point in time what we do creates attachment that becomes viciousness in possession. At what point in time does confidence become arrogance? And these Yoga Sutras today teaches us that how do we gain non-detachment and how do we stay above greed. Greed in excess becomes possessiveness, and those have negative value output and impact on us. So let's focus on, in the given time that we have, it's extremely important to figure out how do we enrich our own life. People talk about changing societies, changing the world, changing everything else around us. But unless and until we change ourselves, things don't happen. It takes the power of one to make things happen. The entire world leadership is that example. Leadership, good or bad, impacts the mood of the nation, the mood of people, of violence, of, mayhem that happens because of some issue on which we are extremely attached with. But when we look at the scenario in a detached fashion, things begin to get better. As Albert Einstein said, any intelligent fool can complicate a simple problem. It takes courage to move in the other direction. So how do we move in the other direction? And that other direction that we take only when we have our own self in control. Yoga, in Aparigraha sense, allows us greater control on our emotions, our needs, our wants, our greed, and allows us to focus in the present, which is very critical. We all talk about the past and the future. Would have been, could have been, should have been. 3 most dangerous words in English language, as I always say. But the important part is to focus on now, here. When you do yoga to achieve the stage of Aparigraha, you become focused in the moment because nothing else distracts you. When you breathe, you inhale, you exhale all the CO2s and impurities from your body, and you inhale more oxygen, which is a life force. This is what is important to bear in mind. I do Patanjali. I learned breathing exercises. What I found was I truly understood the meaning of the phrase, be calm. When your breathing is stabilized, when the air flows in and out in a very calm manner, that's the time when your mind, body, and soul or spirit is in alignment with each other. And that's why yoga practices are so critical for us to achieve the status of Aparigraha. It's so important because if we do not do that, it has very negative impact on us. We are always perpetually agitated and enraged about something or somebody. It's only when we look at things from a detached sense, the power of letting go plays a crucial role in our lives. When you let go of something, it doesn't mean non-action. Bear in mind, we are living in 21st century. These principles were laid down thousands of years ago. It has amazing relevance even today, at all time, because it's universal. So the question here is, how do we make things easier for ourselves? You know, Dr. Tomar sent me a message that many of the United Consciousness people are interested in listening to you. And I said, that's what creates a further stress to living up to expectations. But when you are no longer worried about the expectations because you are going to say, do as you think fit, and you do your best all the time, then the impact is very positive. Managing expectations is the biggest challenge of the 21st century life that we all lead. What is important here is, how do we manage those expectations of others? You can manage the expectations of others by managing your own expectations. Because life is you, I, me, us. So if we are all deeply involved in making ourselves better, understanding ourselves better, recognizing our own talent and potentials better, fulfilling those talents and potentials better, that you become successful. You achieve what you set out to achieve. If today, if I want to set out and say that I'm going to climb Mount Everest, it's not happening because I'm in New York. I can't climb Mount Everest from here. I have only two choices: get frustrated or go there and do it, prepare to climb, right? Action, which is critical. This is very important to understand because we live in a 21st century world where we are overwhelmed with information, overwhelmed with knowledge, overwhelmed with wisdom that is coming from all over the world. What we have to do is to pick that one item, embrace it, imbibe it, and move forward with that, because we are all individually different. Somebody is good at X, somebody is good at Y. We all can't be Y. As a famous slogan in American sports industry said, every basketball player wants to be like Mike. I'm referring to Michael Jordan. But nobody can become Michael Jordan because of a variety of reasons. And one of them is that we aspire, which creates stress on us. This is when you begin to manage things in a manner, begin to fix things in yourself in a very minute way, in a granular sense, then you begin to get better. You can't be best at everything, but you can be good at many things. The question is, how do we excel in these matters? So one of the things that happens when you practice Aparigraha, and as well as when you practice yoga, meditation, you bring your life into sync. To give you the sports analogy again, when your body, mind, and spirit and soul is in sync, that's the time you perform the best. And the way to bring body, mind, and spirit in alignment is through the practices of yoga, meditation, and many sutras of life. That's the time when you begin to embrace life as is. We can't be everything to everybody all the time. But the important part is, you begin to focus on, when you remove greed, you focus on your need and want. That's the time when you begin to do things. There is nothing wrong in need and greed and want. You know, it is very important to know what I am capable of and I want to achieve. That you can do only when you are in a state of elevated equilibrium. This is my favorite phrase, which I learned along the way. The sense of elevated equilibrium comes in you when you begin to fulfill your own potential. That's critical. And you can fulfill your potential only by getting rid of expectations that people put on us. What will people say? Am I doing my best? These are questions that bedevil us. But when we practice detached attachment, that I am going to do what I can do, that's the time when your performance and life comes in balance. Aparigraha is one such sutra, is one such way of life that determines the quality of our life. It's very, very important. It's easier said than done. As somebody who has been a beneficiary of some very outstanding training programs, there was one realization I got. We go for doing things, we have an emotional high, but when we come to the ground on the road, rubber hits the road, then we say the systems are so imperfect. But remember one thing, it's you who makes the difference. It's we as individuals and collectively who impact a difference. That's very important to understand. If I begin to do something in a particular way, practice non detachment, manage my needs, go back to the basics, things become better. And there is no better way than practicing yoga, meditation, breathing exercise, because that's where it brings life into motion. Most of the time, we must remember this very simple. Most of the time, our performance is the best when we are doing our best, we are calm. Think about it. When we are calm, within peace with ourselves, then things happen. And to do that, we all need to practice the belief systems which are essential, going back to basics, looking after your need, not becoming greedy. Accumulation. We all have a desire to have more of everything. We don't need it. It's like I will give you a real example. My son asked me, what will you do when you make your first million? So I told him, you will remain my son, your mother will remain my wife, my height will not increase, I will still fight the battle of the bulge. Maybe we will add one more room to the house. But beyond that, what else will change? Only the material elements. And that's what is important. We live in a materialistic world. It is Kali Yuga. It is a materialistic world. It's very important to be able to manage ourselves well. That's the critical element. And to manage ourselves, our emotions, our expectations, and the others' expectations impose on us, we have to be at peace with ourselves. The power of letting go is a very powerful tool because we always get engaged and enraged with things that are happening around us. It doesn't mean you don't take care of the issue. You do take care of the issue, but you do it with a detached attachment. Outcome is not as important, I said, is very important. It's not as important as the action that drives that motive. This is very critical. You need to be satisfied with yourself, within yourself. And that's the important part is critical. Last thing that I wanted to add to this is relationships. We all have relationships, family, friends, political, religious. We all have our relationships and identities. But as the saying goes, everybody's blood is red, everybody's teeth is white. We all nourish sun's energy, we all nourish water, and all live because of air. That is the oneness that we are all involved in and with. This is globally true. Nobody's religion has been able to change that reality. No practice has changed that reality. Friends, with these words, I want to say to you, reach out within yourself, establish your needs, fulfill your dreams. But to doing that, you have to be at peace with yourself. Peace doesn't mean greedy, hungry, running for more, because we all have our own limitation. I can't be other than who I am. But can I be better than who I am? Absolutely. That's the whole ambition, that we need to control our own emotions and thus we control our actions. It's very, very important because remember, in this world, we all have come with our own innate ability. Somebody is a singer, somebody is a football player, somebody is a tennis player. These all have specific talents, given talents, and we have to grow those talents. So that's what is important to achieve the elevated equilibrium in ourselves. We have to be at peace within ourselves. And the best way to be at peace with ourselves is to understand ourselves and get rid of relationships that affect us adversely. Because remember, as the famous saying goes, friends are thieves of time, right? But that's not true. Friends are friends, they help you. But when you indulge in too much of wastage of time, it hurts. With these words, I would urge all of you to practice yoga, to create balance within yourself, to achieve your full potential. Thank you very much for United Consciousness International, of which I'm a very proud board member, and it's a great moment to share my thoughts with you.
Thank you very much, respected Jha sir. So aptly, you mentioned many things that you said really inspired. I love the way you said that I cannot be other than who I am, but I can be certainly better than who I am. This is very inspiring, and for that, you said that we need to be in peace with self. And as you said that to manage expect others' expectation, I need to manage my own expectations with myself. And when I will understand myself, my mind, body, and the spirit, when they come in a sync, or you said it in yoga, when I am in zone, then I will be I will be able to cultivate the term that you use, elevated equilibrium with detached attachment. I'm sure that it will inspire many of the audience who are listening to you. It has inspired me. Thank you very much for always showering your attention, your affection, and your blessings to us. Thank you very much, Asa.
Deeply, deeply grateful for the involvement with this movement. And I pray and I will work hardest to make this a great success. We must reach to the world around us. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Pastor.
I thank Dr. Vibuti Jha for such a valuable explanation. Thank you so much.